What's up, you freaking geniuses? So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to solve proportions, all right? And we're going to get progressively more complicated with our problems. So let's start with an easy one right here. So we have 4 over x is equal to 5 over 9. So the easiest way to solve these is by cross multiplying. So that just means that you want to multiply this cross together and set it equal to this cross, right? So first of all, 4 times 9, that's equal to 36. And that's going to be equal to our other cross, which is 5 times x, which we can just label as 5x. So to solve for x here, we can divide both sides by 5. Those cancel out. So then here we get that x is equal to 36 divided by 5, which is equal to 7.2. Okay, so that'd be our answer here for x. Okay, here's the next example. So we have 5 over x minus 3 is equal to 10 over x. So again, we just want to cross multiply, right? So we're going to multiply these guys together. So 5 times x is just equal to 5x. And we're going to say that's equal to our other cross over here, which is 10 times x minus 3, right? So 10 times x minus 3. All right, so then just bringing everything down, we're going to get that 5x is equal to, and then here we can just distribute, right? So we're going to get 10 times x and 10 times negative 3. So 10 times x is equal to 10x, and 10 times minus 3 is equal to negative 30, right? So minus 30, right? So trying to solve for x over here, we can just move all the x's to one side. So let's just subtract 10x from both sides. Those cancel out. So then here we get 5 minus 10 is negative 5. So negative 5x is equal to negative 30. So here, solving for x, we can divide both sides by negative 5. Boom. So then here, we're left with x is equal to 30 divided by 5 is 6, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive, right? So we get x is equal to positive 6. Boom. All right, now this example gets a little bit more complicated. So here we have 3 minus 4x over 1 plus 5x is equal to 1 over 2 plus 3x. All right, but again, we always start at the same spot, just cross multiplying. All right, so let's multiply this first cross right here. So we have 3 minus 4x, right? 3 minus 4x times this guy down here, 2 plus 3x. So 2 plus 3x, and we're going to set that equal to the other cross, so 1 plus 5x times 1. And anything times 1 is just itself, right? So this is just going to be equal to 1 plus 5x. Okay, so now here we have two binomials, so we can multiply them by foiling. So we're going to do first, so 3 times 2 is equal to 6, and then 3 times 3x is positive 9x plus 9x. Then we have negative 4x times 2, that's negative 8x minus 8x. And then negative 4x times positive 3x is equal to negative 12x squared, right? Negative 12x squared. And again, that's equal to 1 plus 5x. Okay, now let's combine like terms. So here we have 9x minus 8x, that's equal to 1x, or simply just x. So on the left side, we have 6 plus x minus 12x squared is equal to 1 plus 5x. All right, now let's get everything to the left side because it looks like we have a trinomial here, right? So let's try and group everything together. So let's subtract this 1 and subtract a 1, and then subtract 5x and subtract 5x. So here 6 minus 1 is equal to 5. 1x minus 5x is equal to negative 4x. And then here we have negative 12x squared. Negative 12x squared, and that's equal to a big fat 0. Okay, so now let's rearrange this so it looks like a normal trinomial with the biggest exponent first. So we're going to say negative 12x squared, and then minus 4x, and then we have a positive 5, right? So plus 5 is equal to 0. All right, so now we're going to have to factor this bad boy. But one thing that I want to do first is get rid of this negative sign. And that's just my preference. You don't have to do that. But if you want to get rid of this leading negative sign, all you have to do is divide everything by negative 1. And what we do to one side, we do to the other, right? So we have to divide by negative 1 over here also. All right, so dividing by negative 1 is going to flip the sign on all these guys. So then this is going to become positive 12x squared. Then we're going to have positive 4x, and then negative 5 minus 5. And that's going to be equal to 0 divided by anything is just 0, so we get 0. Okay, so we're almost done. I'm going to make a bunch of room over here just so we can finish factoring this guy, because that's going to be the last step, right? So let's move him up here. And to factor this, I'm going to use the AC method, which just involves multiplying the first and the last number together. So 12 times -5, that's equal to -60, right? So we need to come up with two numbers that multiply together to -60, but they have a difference of the middle number right here, which is +4, okay? So in this case, that would be a +10 and a -6. So then we can break this down as 12x squared, and then this +4x, we're going to break it down with these two. So we're going to have +10x minus 6x, and then we have -5 is equal to 0, all right? Now, one last thing I'm going to do is switch the position of this +10x and the -6x, and that's because we're going to have to factor by grouping. So first, we're going to have 12x squared, and then again, we're going to write this guy next, -6x, and then we're going to put him plus 10x, and then lastly again, -5 is equal to 0, okay? So now we can factor by grouping. So we're going to group the first two together and the last two together. So in this first group, 12x squared minus 6x, we have to factor out the biggest common factor or term. And in this case, it would be a 6x, right? So we can factor out a 6x, and if we do that, on the inside, we're going to be left with 2x minus 1. And then same thing over here, the biggest thing we can factor out looks like it's going to be a 5, +5, so we'll say +5. And on the inside, we're going to be left with 2x minus 1. And again, this whole thing is equal to 0. Okay, so now we can group the two numbers we factored out, so this 6x and the +5. So that's going to go in one set of parentheses, so 6x plus 5. And then you can see we have this factor, which is the same one as this one, and that's going to go in another set of parentheses. So 2x minus 1, and again, this is all equal to 0. All right, so now we have two factors, right? 6x plus 5 and 2x minus 1. So we're going to set each of these equal to 0 so we can come up with some solutions for x. So first of all, we have 6x plus 5, and again, we're going to say that's equal to 0. So solving for x here, we can simply subtract 5 from both sides. So here we get that 6x is equal to -5. So then dividing both sides by 6, we get that x is equal to -5/6, right? So -5/6, all right? So this is one solution. Now to find the other solution, again, we're going to, and I'm going to move all this to make some room, we're just going to take our other factor over here, the 2x minus 1, right? 2x minus 1, and set that one equal to 0 as well. So here we can add 1 to both sides. So here we get that 2x is equal to 1, and then dividing both sides by 2, we get that x is equal to +1/2, right? So there's our second solution. So if you found the video helpful, definitely leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any other questions or want to see any other examples, just let me know in the comment section below.